what's it called now? You know, one problem might lead to other. At times too, when something that is odd in a large society, and then some people might even be victims of problems that we are talking about. So when everybody is seeing it, okay, this is a problem, then it's agreed that it's a social problem. Then everybody must now agree in the existence of that problem too. And there must be a solution for the problem. So looking at it now, so and whenever there's problem, then something has to be done. I think we discussed that one a lot in the principle of what's it called now, social work in our first semester. No, we talk about what's it called now, act of relationship, social work as an act of relationship, and the process of relationship. No, there could be problems due to deviation, violation of norms and values, or maybe deviation from the rules and regulation of a community, or probably something that's doing something that is somebody that is okay, that is against the rules and regulation. Let me just put it that way. So when we notice that there's a problem, there must be a way out. Then what is the way out? Then something has to be done, which is work. We come to the word social work, because that has to be, so somebody has to be there who is a social worker. Then when we now say social worker, it must now be a professional social worker, not, okay, no, naturally, everybody will attend to one problem or the other. But now when a professional is now attending to it, you know, it makes it better. So that's that about social problems. So in order to, those that are incapacitated, in order to help them, then something has to be done. Then the vulnerable, looking at them, their welfare has been tampered with. So something has to be done. It could be the responsibility of the government, is part of government's responsibility. Then we have volunteers. Then I think we have a lot of NGOs, non-profit organizations that are ready to do what, to help people, to assist in social welfare. So then let's look at the history of social welfare. The history of social welfare. So let's first of all look at the American social welfare, you know, in the colonial period. You know, when you say history, so we have to go down to some probably stories and some other things. So American social welfare began in the colonial period with the adoption of the Elizabeth IV law. Elizabeth IV, when somebody that is poor, laws, no, a law was enacted at that point at the basis for treatment of society poor and deviant. By the beginning of the progress of the era in 1900, migration, then the women movement, scientific investigation of social problems, then social growth produced significant innovation in both public and private perspective. So programs and treatment in such areas as poor relief, mental and physical health, and corrections, and led to the beginning of professionalization of social work. So let's look at this Elizabeth IV law. No, when a law is, no, law is a laid down rule. So when the law was enacted, it has a purpose. So let's look at the origin of the this thing, of the Elizabeth IV law. No, we are looking at people's welfare. Either we like it or not, no, we will always have the disadvantaged set of people around us. And at times too, probably someone might not be disadvantaged today, or might not be vulnerable today, but as a matter of fact, probably by age or by some other circumstances, one might find him or herself in the, what's it called now, in a vulnerable stage. So now we are now looking at poor. You know, when you say poor, poverty is everywhere. So now at a point, you know, the American look at it, okay, what do we do? So a law was enacted, which is a law of Elizabeth First Law in 1601. So there are the major points of this law, you know, it has to do with catering for some set of people in one category or the other. No, I said something earlier. Probably you might be capable today, tomorrow you might be incapacitated. It could be as a result of age. So when you are, you know, probably what's it called now? You are growing up. I think in our biology then in secondary school, he's talking about the definition of growth was given as growing in what is it called, in size and weight, which is irreversible. So as far as you are growing up, you know, there's no way, it's a natural phenomenon, you can't reverse it. So it's to get to a point of life, if you know, that someone will be at a point you might not be able to work, then you might not be able to do a lot of things, and you will need, you know, your welfare has to be taken care of. So let's look at the origin of this first law. No, so you now look at, okay, some certain category of people. So it's just to cater for those category. The first category is about the impotent poor. That means people who cannot work. So by virtue of their probably what they have, they are unable to work. For instance, the aged, you know, this thing now, those that are blind, those that are lame, and those that are deformed. So there's a provision for those people. So this law now make an arrangement for them to care for them in what we call almshouse. That means something that ALMS, almshouse. So that means they have a place, they call it almshouse or poor house. So the place, the provision was made for them. Then it's for them to do what? The law now offer a kind of relief to those set of people who are unable to do what? To work. Then now look at other sets of people who are able-bodied but poor. Able-bodied but poor. That means they have the ability to work. I think at times they might even have the skill. So and they are not getting jobs. So those are the able-bodied, what's it called now? Poor. We refer to them as able-bodied poor. So they were to be, they are this kind of set of people now. The provision for them is that, okay, there will be a kind of work, they call it house of industry. So there is a work for them where they have to do what? Materials will be provided for them, for those sets of people. And I think that their own needs have been met. So their own, this thing, in their own category, their welfare has been sorted out. Likewise, the aged and the what's it called now? Those people that are deformed in one way or the other. Then the third category of people. I hope we are still together, please. I need the response to be sure that we are together.
Yes, ma, we are together.
Okay. So the third set of people are the idle. Idle, they call it idle poor. So these are the category set of people that, though they are what's it called now? They call them vagrants. So you know, the vagabonds, those that have that they are able-bodied, but they don't, probably for one reason or the other, they don't want to work. So those ones are to be sent to a house of correction, or at times even it could even be prison. So they send them to correctional center. Probably if they are there for some time, no, they might need a kind of rehabilitation, talking to them, orientating them, and at a point they might fit the society. No, for someone to be an able-bodied man and that is decided to be idle, something must be wrong with the person. So an arrangement was made for their own welfare too. We are looking at the Elizabeth IV law. Then the last set of people, they are the paupers and children. They are, those set of people, they are to become an apprentice. So the children, they are to become an apprentice. They are fixed in one, what's it called, job or the other. So they will be there learning. So those are the provisions of the law as at then. But the issue is this: with time, there was a kind of review because of one reason or a lot of reasons. Because of migration and a lot of other reasons. Urbanization, people are, the population is increasing by day and everything. So there was reason to do what? To review. And let me tell you, when it comes to law, any law that is made with time, it's always under review. It has to be reviewed just to meet up with the what's it called, the present situation. So from the colonial period now, so let's now look at the law, what they were able to do. So from that colonial period to the progressive era, social welfare roots remain firmly embedded in the law. So as at that period, so whatever that is being done is embedded in that law. So I think that the 4 categories now was able to cater for virtually everyone that the vulnerables, those that are vulnerable as a result of age or their condition. Then some people, because of what's it called now, unemployment. Then some that are okay, that are able-bodied and they don't want to work. Then even the children were well catered for. We might be asking this question. We are talking about 1600. It was later that the issue of I think it should be 1924 that we now look at, okay, there was a kind of evolution concerning the children and child rights law in Geneva. So that it was at that point that we are now saying that, okay, so from so age to so age will be an underage that is not allowed to do some kind of job. As at that 1600, as a child, you have to do something. So they were, linked with one job or the other to be learning. So that's it. Now, they dictated, we are now looking at the law now, they dictated the poverty and deviance were personal rather than societal problem, with hard work rather than public aid be cured. So now it now becomes a personal issue. So if you are picked up, then you should be able to do something. So throughout this, in the 17th and 18th centuries, families and local responsibility categorization of poor and institution placement provided the solution to social problems. Do we get it at all? Hello? Are we together, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So from what I've explained so far now, I want a response from you. Has anybody gotten something from there? What I've explained so far about this thing, Elizabeth IV law. Elizabeth, then Paul, P-O-W-R, law. So what is saying invariably is that, okay, people individually will be fixed up with their problem. You know, that's why they divided them into 4 categories that covers those that are vulnerable, that needs what's it called, welfare, social welfare attention. And those people were catered for. And if you are catered for, that means it wasn't a general, this it has to be an individual. So at that point, you know, it now remains you, your family, and probably the local responsibility. The state is not part of it, and even the national government. So then, when you now say categorization of poor and the institutional placement provided the solution for social problems. So that was how they were able to do what? To cater for the social problems. So in that, then in the 700, new humanitarian and scientific interests began to differentiate social needs. You know, you can see that something was progressive. In the 1601, the law of Elizabeth Paul's law, was fully in place. I said earlier that whenever a law is enacted, at a point there will always be a kind of review based on the circumstances surrounding it, the people there. So now, at a point, there was emergence of new humanitarian and scientific interests. So they now began to differentiate social needs, then leading to a new perspective and programs in the 1800s. So the women, what's it called, part of those things that brought about this new perspective of the law now is that, okay, probably because of the movement, women's movement, the massive immigration. People are now migrating from their own, probably from their wherever they are to the urban centers. Then, also as a sort of civil war. So there was the civil war led to divergence of private and public care system, and the and diversification of social welfare agencies organized at the state. Now it has gone beyond the local level. It has gone to the state level and the national levels. So at this point now, when it has gone beyond the issue of, okay, probably your family and your locality, it has gone to the state level of the state and the national. So at this point, so there was need to train some set of people to handle the welfare of the people. So that's where the social workers, that was the emergence of the social.
So what do we do now?
Sorry, you are not. Are you hearing me? Are we together, please?
So are you with my husband?
Somebody is interrupting
So
the
tell
class.
him what they.
Somebody is interrupting the class. Can I continue, please?
Yes, ma, you can continue. You can continue.
Okay. So now it has now become a national problem. So at that point, people have to be trained on how to do what? Handle social welfare, people's welfare. So the training for case workers and administrators led to social work as a profession, stepped in the dual approaches of casework and community organization, so of the individual and families, and advocacy, then policy change. And your role as a social worker. Like I said earlier, a trained a professional is different from, okay, somebody that is just trying, what's it called, using trial and error. So at this point, there was need for, what's it called, set of people to do or to be attending to the welfare of the people. So that's where social work comes in. So then let's look at, before we move down there, do we have any question? Do we have any question? Or so now let's look at it from our own angle. Now I've briefly given us the history of what's it called, social welfare. So the American social welfare in the colonial period over there. So now we are now looking at our own history of social welfare in Nigeria. So the origin of social welfare could be said to have probably originated with the beginning of human life and their association with each other. Then in order to, in the olden days, the spirit of what's it called, neighborliness and helping one another to solve problems collectively existed in the normal daily pattern, and it is generally recognized that the well-being of one person affects the well-being of his or her neighbors and others around him. At this point, let's look at it. We are looking at the history of social welfare in Nigeria. So I want us to come to get, what's it called now, to narrow it down to, let's look at the pre-colonial era, before the emergence of the colonial masters. You know, we Africans were doing things in our own way. Then looking at it, when it comes to social work or social welfare is as old as existence, human existence. One thing is that as a human being, you know, by one way or the other, we what's it called now? Our welfare is paramount. And in the bid of defining our welfare, then we are saying that okay, welfare could always can also be referred to as well-being. So it has to do with individual well-being. Then looking at it, then in our own way, before the advent of these colonial masters, every ethnic group has its own way of doing things, of catering for each other. So that's where the spirit of neighborliness, neighborhood, and helping one another in solving one problem or the other is coming in. Now, at this point, we have our ways of training ourselves. Each ethnic group has their own culture and norms. Then within this thing, we have individual families. So that make provisions for their immediate distinct families. Families make provision for what's it called, for themselves. So when it comes to probably children training, they were trained through the culture, the norms, the way of life, and every other thing. So that means as far as then, the institution, family serve as a welfare institution on its own, where children are trained. And at the same time, we can refer it, say, okay, we can even say, okay, it's a, what's it called now? Educational institution, because it has to do with training. Then moving above that, we look at in different ethnic groups. Like let's assume in Yoruba now, they have what they call an Ebi system. Ebi system is that, Ebi in a Yoruba means family system. So in a family, then they have their ways of what's it called now, doing things. That means one family member will cater for all the children within the family. So that means if A should give birth to a child, then all other adults within that family, we have to train the child. So you don't look away. Unlike, everything has changed now, that it's now me and my family. Then a child that is born within a family setting. When you say a family now, the extended family, the way you usually have big compounds that every other family member to be there. So they watch over each other, and the training, is through everyone that is present at that particular time. Then it makes arrangement for the old, what's it called now, the aged ones and even the widows. So the aged one is still the function of the same size of family members that will take care of the aged. And when it comes to widow, that's why in this thing you see they have probably when a woman lose the spouse, then another man within the family will inherit the woman. It's all about the welfare of the woman and the children of the deceased. So that was how it was done then. Then we look at, okay, I think in Igbo land we have what we call age groups. So those groups, the age group is to look after one another. So this thing like that. So I want us to, probably if you are in your own area, how was it done then? Probably will have read about it, and even part of it is still, we still have the knowledge of it. So I want us to, from our side, how was it done? Also, I learned that in Igbo they have what they call a umada or whatever. Then in the north they have a sakat and some other. So I need contribution from the class, please. Do we have anybody from what's it called now? From Igbo or whatever? I think Shidima, or what's your name?
Yes. Yes, ma. But
yes.
I still don't understand completely what your question is, ma. Can you paraphrase?
What I'm saying is that how was it done then? Probably from history. How then? We are talking about the family set that is helping the welfare of people then in the olden days, before the advent of the colonial masters. We were doing things in our own ways. And I knew then in this thing, I said in Yoruba we have what we call a big system, where you look after the well-being of others is your own well-being. So I think in Igbo too, they have what they call age grade that cater for other things. They cater for the elderly and probably people within the same age in the society. Do you have any example, or probably you?
Yes, ma. That is practically how it's done from my side where I come from. The age grade are saddled with the responsibility of looking after the members of the same age group, right? Then when you come down to families, we have what is called umunna. It covers different clans under the same, in a particular family. Like take for instance, my family now, I'm Ugoji by surname, and the man who answered Ugoji had up to 5 wives. You see, so in my place, you are not permitted to change that surname, because that is the means we identify ourselves. Though we are broad and large now, my father was like the grandson of this man. You see, so it helps us to gather ourselves, know ourselves whenever we find ourselves, and then extend the same hand even to our children. Thank you.
So that was this thing, the way it was done then. Then I think from this thing, they said there's something that is called umada. What is umada?
is called Umuada.
Okay, sorry. I'm not from your side, so.
Okay. Umuada. Okay, Umuada. Ada means the first daughters in every family.
Okay.
So if I am the first daughter of my father now, then the first daughter of his brother, the first daughter of the other person forms this group that is now addressed as Umuada. Now, what is their responsibility? Their responsibility is to oversee the coming up of other young ladies in the family,
yes,
and guide them aright. Yes.
Yes. So that's where I'm coming in. So that means there has been provision for the welfare of everyone as that even before the advent of the colonial masters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the same thing applicable to the northern part of Nigeria. Then they have their own justice system. Even before that, the colonial master, they have a way of dealing with those people that that commit what's it called, offense. So I think those people that what's it called now? That have probably those ones that are disturbing the peace of the district. So they have their ways of doing it. It could be probably beating, full beating. That's the correction. That's how in their own correctional district. So that's how they correct some people. It could even be flogging. Then some will even be manhandled that will lead to jungle justice. That at that point, some people will be probably what they have done is out of this thing, they could be stoned to death. As at then, all these things could be, what's it called? That's their primitive way of doing things. But the fact remains that the welfare of people as at then was paramount. And they have a prison system too, where they have some dungeons where they will keep criminals and others. So those are the things. Then I think as at then too, we have what's it called now, the Council of Chiefs that practice the kind of check and balances. They act as watchdog, even on the traditional rulers. So that was how the whole thing was done then. Then at the advent of the colonial masters too, that's we have talked about the pre-colonial masters. Then at the advent of the colonial masters too, they came up with their own what's it called now? What the traditional set of people started, they built on it. So the issue of what's it called now? There was a kind of formal education. At this point, they created schools where people had formal education. And education is a kind of what's it called now? Social welfare institution. So then they have the judicial system. They came up on how to handle what's it called now? Criminals. That's where the prison came in. We are not surprised about that anyway. When we're discussing about the Elizabeth Sports and law, it talks about probably able men that are not ready to work, the vagabonds, that are idle. So they said they were kept in a house of correction or prison. So that thing was translated to us in Africa, where there's what's it called now? Arrangement for prison. So they have their own judicial system where to sit on if there's any problem, then those people that will be in charge and every other thing. And then, they have the expiration of hospitals for the welfare of people's health rather. Then now look at what's it called now? There were correctional centers for juvenile. Then they call it welfare. I could remember when we were growing up, they like, if somebody should act strangely or do something that is or commit any offense, no, they'll be threatening you with they will take it to welfare. No, they generally they call it, in the olden days they call it welfare. No, this is where it's a kind of correctional center. No, that children that are misbehaving, that will be taken to. So, and up to now, I think we still have it in many states. For instance, in Lagos State, it was that same, what is it called now? Correctional centers created by the colonial masters. No, that's what they are still using up to now. We have one, the Guest Correctional Center at, what is it called now? Idiaraba. I think they have 3 there. Children's Center. That one is for the children within the age of 2 to probably 8. Then this thing, those people that are exhibiting kind of delinquencies, they are put in a special correctional center. I think the third center there is what's it called now? Vocation in center. Well, okay, those people that have been worked on in the special correctional center, they could as well be be established. So before the reintegration back to the society. So it's all about what's it called? Correction, rehabilitating them, then making them to fit to the society. So, and I think the what was it called now? The Boys Correctional Center is still there, and some other centers. And that one led to we have a lot of other private centers. And that one is applicable to other places in Nigeria too. Then there was a provision in the advent of those colonial masters too. So there was provision for the aged. So they have homes for the old people. So probably during the Civil War, a lot of people lost their families and some other reason. So they were alone, so they have to be kept in one place. So we have the old people home is still existing up to now, and it's still functioning. So those are the history of welfare, social welfare in Nigeria. So let's see, social welfare and social work have their roots dated as past and are rooted in religion. The rooted welfare had its beginning in the Europe, especially in the Elizabeth IV laws in England. Then, however, several developments in Europe have set the stage for the development of social welfare and social work in European countries and as well as Nigeria. So what we are saying in essence is that, okay, when we are talking about this welfare and every other thing, it has its own roots in religion too. That means religion setting is a kind of institution too that cater for people's welfare. So that's where we have then part of this thing. We have the missionary schools. We have missionaries, what's it called now? Hospitals, which were still existing up to now. So that means religion too has its own role to play in welfare, in people's welfare as at the time of the colonial master. And that one transcends to this present movement. We still have a lot of those missionaries hospitals around us there. Then even the missionary schools too, all over the country. Then the history of social welfare and social work in Nigeria is similar to that of advanced country. So industrialization made people to seek for great greener pasture in the big cities, thereby making the once closely knit family units that initially looked after its member to become disintegrated. So the same thing, the same problem, at a point we said in the Elizabeth First Law, there was a kind of a review probably because of migration and some because of urbanization and some other reasons. So now the same thing is applicable to social welfare in Nigeria. So at a time you discover that in the big cities, people are migrating for white collar jobs and every other thing. And at that point, we have a lot of, at that point, what's it called now? We have a lot of, so there was increase in the social problems. So with the mass mobilization to the big cities, as the aftermath of industrialization, social problems began to crop up. Hence, the need for social welfare programs to take care of these social problems in the society. So as a result of industrialization in Nigeria, so a lot of big cities experienced what's it called, problems. If you still look at it today, you discover that the social problems, though is everywhere, but it's prevalent in the big cities. Like for instance, in Lagos State, a lot of issues everywhere. This issue of what's it called now? The correctional centers. We have a lot of migrants out there. All these what's it called, Agbero and a lot of other things. What they after is what they will eat, but at the expense of others and people. So they have become a problem to the society. So which is a kind of social problems, and that is applicable to all other big cities in Nigeria. So, and it has to be catered for. So now the concept of charitable services on rendering help to others is not new in Nigeria. We have addressed it in the pre-colonial era, which we just discussed now. So catering for each other is not a new thing, but the disintegration of families as a result of industrialization then led to a lot of other things. So then among Yoruba ethnic groups of the southwest of Nigeria, the spirit of good neighborliness had always existed among them, which dated back to centuries, and which is also largely true to other ethnic groups in Nigeria. So this is the belief that the biological parents of a child are not only the parents of the child, but every grown-up individual in the community is the parent, because the customs and tradition permits them to correct, to repair them, and instill discipline and morals on any child that is going astray, which we have discussed. So the custom and tradition also provide for the care of the sick, not only the sick, the elderly, and the handicapped among them. So the culture provides for the provision of welfare of everybody, be it young and old, at either the family level, within the community, or religious basis. So traditional check and balances of elders and other relations were very present. So in those days, traditions and custom religiously guided and control moral and social behaviors. And because of this, there was a good level of domestic and social stability. So as a result of urbanization, there was a drift and relocation of individuals to the urban cities, hence the movement away from the traditional family settings and decline in traditional control and individuals and families. So juvenile delinquencies became a problem as a result of rapidly developing urban centers. and there arose therefore the need for organized public social services. So you can see that that same thing that happens at Europe, the same thing happens in Nigeria here. So because of the development, there's expansion everywhere, then migration and every other thing. There arose a lot of issues, problems. Everybody wants to survive at the expense of others. So, and at that point, the public has to intervene. Then what's it called now? From what the colonial masters, from their foundation which they have laid then concerning the formal education system, judicial system, the healthcare system, and others. The government now build on it. So that's why today we have the government too. They are catering for the health of the people and every other thing. So it connotes the welfare of individual groups and the generality of people. So that's it. So any question and any question? Any question before we move further? Then let me ask a question. I hope we are together. Hello. I hope we are still together. Mr. Abdullah, are you with us? And your Bolu Margaret, are we together? Seems some people just log on to the class and they are not around. So there's no response from anybody. Mr. Fame, are you with us in the class?
Yes, I'm with you.
So there has not been responses now. Then Mr. Abdullah, are you just coming into the class or what happened?
I've been in the class. I just want to, I'm taking treatment, so I just say, let me hear what is happening.
Then what about Madam Margaret and Yobolu? So she's not available. So it's as good as just talking to myself over time. I'm not impressed about the attitude of this thing. So for those that were in class, let me ask this: so far, what have you been able to get from what we have said? So Madam Margaret, maybe she went for Owambe Abi. She just logged on and Mr. Fame. So from what we have said so far, what do you have to say about it? I think she seems she's out.
I've learned that for now we have been able to use social welfare to. I've learned about the reason for social welfare, which is to organize and to make sure to make plans for the future of a particular risk that has not happened, but with the chances of meeting, and that historically there has been cultural ways of holding people to account, and that we also mentioned the Umwada system of indoctrinating people into the first daughterhood, and that this thing has not been new to our system. The system of welfare administration has not been new to our system. It has been historical, as the case has been from time to time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Then is there any similarity between the European welfare system and Nigerian welfare system? Any similarity at all?
Well, between the European system and our system, welfare remains welfare. The goal and approach will reflect the culture of the people. So, one of the similarities ours is institutionalized in recent time, and theirs is also institutionalized. The institutionalization of the system also depends on what we call institution, because our mode of institutional system might not be the same with theirs because of the cultural differences. So that's it. But the end product is that welfare is given, and then people get to benefit from it. So that's my own understanding of it.
Yes, and the fact remains that we are even learning from them anyway. We are learning from them, and when it comes to this social welfare system, was brought to us. It was part of this thing, what the colonial masters brought to us in Africa. And I think they were the one that set the pace of all these institutions. Then it was done traditionally. But when the advent of the colonial masters, we're able to establish a good health care system, a viable one anyway, then this issue of a formal education system, then we improved on our judicial system. As at then, could be okay, a chief presiding on what's it called. So it was the advent that point, the judicial system, we have it a bit better than what it used to be. It got to a point that people have to go and study law to be able to attend to judicial issues. Then we have the creation of hospitals, then the correctional centers, both for adults and the and the juvenile. And when it comes to the adults, like what we said in the Elizabeth and Paul's law, that there are some able-bodied men. They are, they call them I-do-poor, and they are being referred to as vagabonds. So they don't want to even do anything, and there was still provision for them. The provision they made for them was that, okay, if you are not ready to do anything, then there was a provision of a prison or house of, they called it then, house of correction. It's for a kind of rehabilitation. That means the area of their the welfare need is different from, apart from being able to feed themselves. Probably might need a kind of rehabilitation. In a normal sense, the prison is meant for rehabilitation. So when you imprison someone, the person will have to go through kind of counseling, psychosocial counseling, and a lot of other counseling, then a kind of therapy. Then after the correction, then the person will be fit. It will be reintegrated back to the society. So the same thing applicable to the juveniles too. So that's why these days, and I said it then, that all these correctional centers, have been established here, and up to now, we are still building on them. And even this correctional center, we have one of them, the ancient one at, what's it called now? Buster Home, Abeokuta. It's meant for, what's it called now? Juvenile, that, what's it called? That are in conflict with the law, children in conflict with the law. That means they are involved in criminal acts, maybe murder, defilement, rape, and some other things. In a normal sense, we are not meant to keep children with the adults. So they have, it has been established then, they have, what's it called now, correctional centers for the underage, irrespective of their, what's it called now, their offense. So there has been a provision for them. So those are the things that were applicable to them. So any question? And Yobolu, I've not seen her in class. She just on her this thing and she's out of the class. So before we round up, let's quickly look at the social. Mr. MC Fame, I hope you are still with me. So I will soon be as if I'm talking to myself.
I'm still here. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Okay. So let's quickly look at the social welfare system. Social welfare system. So the social welfare system provides assistance for individuals and families in need. So the types and amount of welfare available to an individual and family varies depending on the country, state, or region. So for instance, in US, the federal government provides grants to each state through the temporary assistance for needy families. So it's a kind of program that is made available for them there. So what we are saying now is that this social welfare system depends on what's it called now. It varies. It depends on the what's it called now, the family, the individual, and the family that are in need. And not only that, it depends on the country. So our the system, our social welfare system here in Nigeria is quite different from the system in any other country. The one in I think in the course of the week, I was in a meeting. So this one of the presenters is a kind of training. The presenter was like, the facilitator was talking about Sweden welfare system. He mentioned about, it was even similar to what's it called now, our own system here in Nigeria. So it was like everyone around, it's a kind of what's it called now? You are being accountable for everyone around you. So somebody's welfare around you is your own, the person's concern, welfare concern is your own concern. So you have to do something. So what I'm saying in essence is that based on this, every country have their own system of a way of addressing social welfare. So this the issue of United States, they have a kind of temporary assistance for needy families, a kind of program. Then, sincerely in Nigeria, we are just coming up. God will help us, even in Africa generally. We are just coming up with all these things. All the advanced countries, they have gone far in this social welfare thing. So it's not that we are just coming up. And unfortunately, the foundation that was laid by the colonial master, we failed to do what, to build on it. Will as well be a super state or country now. I think we have been able to build on what they started for us. But notwithstanding, somebody is interrupting the class. So we are in Africa, then Nigeria, we are just coming up. And even a lot of people, when you mention social work, they were like, what is social work? It's not that, in some of this thing, it's been the advent of social work in tertiary institution is maybe some 10, 20 years ago. Some is not even up to 20. Some, what's it called now? Institution, tertiary, they are just introducing. So a lot of people doesn't even know social work, talk less of what's it called now? Maximizing the social workers around them. So, and if you look at it, is social work as this thing, as a course or as a profession, no, it's just coming up. The what's it called now? This thing was just what's it called? The Social Work Act was just enacted in 2022. So we still have a long way to go. But notwithstanding, by one way or the other, the social welfare system, it might not be adequate here, but at least it's on ground. So let's look at it now. So we are still using this thing as a kind of what's it called now? Benchmark. So we are looking at the provision that they are making in US. So let's look at the system. It now said, so the benefits of the individual or family received as part of social welfare system will vary by state, and as will be what's it called now, the eligibility requirement now. There are always requirements for receiving what's it called, welfare packages. So they are used to have what's it called, a requirement for it. So then how social welfare system work? Social welfare system provide assistance to individuals and families through programs such as healthcare, food stamps, unemployment compensation, house assistance, and child care assistance in US. A caseworker is assigned to each individual or family applying for benefit to determine and confirm the applicant's need. So that means that's where this thing, case workers, when we're discussing about the history of what's it called now, social welfare, at a point with because of this thing, due to the increase in probably population, immigration, and some other things, there was the need for a professional social worker, and a caseworker happens to be one of them. So at this point, a caseworker is assigned to do what? To each individual family that are in need, that are applied for the benefit, to benefit and determine. So their work is to visit, to confirm the person's need, the family, either individual need or the family need. So that's the work of those case workers there. So after that one, the benefits available to the individual vary by state. So eligibility is determined based on factors surrounding the person's financial status. So it's not as if, because we say it's what's it called now, welfare package, it has to be for everyone. So it now depends on their financial status. Okay, the level of the need. So how it relates to the minimum, the acceptable level within a particular state. So the factors involved can include the size of the family. They will take into consideration the size of the family, their current income level, or the what's it called, assess the disability. So those factors now that will be taken into consideration for maybe a family or a group of people to benefit from it. No, it has to do with the size of depends on the size of the family. Yeah, then the current income of the family, and not only that, and what's for now, the access disability. Then within each state, social welfare system may go by different names. So it might not call it the same name, depends on the state and the country, but they often serve similar functions. So this can cause confusion when attempting to compare one state programs to another. So the fact remains that a social welfare system is a social welfare system. Now it now depends on what is obtainable in each country, state, or nation. So this allows for adjustment based on items such as cost of living that are, excuse me, not standardized across the country. So now, so a social welfare system offers assistance to, so generally, let's see what we have said so far. So a social welfare system offers assistance to individuals and families in need with such programs as health care assistance, food stamps, unemployment compensation. Then, what's it called now? No, part of a social welfare system include disaster relief and educational assistance. No, this when there's what's it called now? Natural disaster like flooding, earthquake, and any other disaster. It could be fire or whatever, man-made disaster. So that means there's always a welfare system on ground to make provision for them. So it still depends on each state, depends on the country. I think that one is applicable everywhere, even in Nigeria here, in the time of the bomb blast and the, what's it called now, the Boko Haram and every other thing. That's why we have internally displaced, what's it called, to cater for the displaced in time of probably war and when, or where we have unrest, insecurity. So they're not only that federal government provide grants to each state through the temporary assistance, that's in US, to the needy family. So then not only that, the eligibility of benefits is based on a number of factors, including income level and family size. And not only that, the non-governmental agencies too are there to help the needy too. The non-profit, the NGOs, organizations. So they are there. We have them everywhere, even in Nigeria here. So that we know where we need interventions in welfare, in the people's welfare. So now let's look at some benefits. Available benefit generally covers assistance for, depending on what the person or the family needs. It could be food, excuse me, housing, then it could even be child care, then medical care in case of, depending on what they are in need of. Then federal funds are provided to states for distribution. The funds may be used for cash assistance, allowing a household to spend the fund as it deems necessary to meet its needs and obligations. So it depends. Some say we dispense what's it called, cash, and some might be in kind of provision of materials, relief materials, and some could be okay, kind of house provision of sit together, please. Are we still together?
Yes, we are still together, ma'am.
Yeah. I say some available housing benefits go beyond locating suitable and affordable properties and providing housing cost assistance. A household may qualify for assistance to complete certain energy efficiencies or upgrades. So some people, when it comes to the housing issues, it might not be okay. Probably the person needs, the person might have a shelter, but it might probably there's need to maybe furnish it or maybe helping them to put some things in place. So it now depends on what the person's need. And it may also be probably just funds for utility bills, assisting them to cater for their utility bills. No, God will help us in Nigeria. We are moving. Then benefits around health and nutrition can include access to affordable medical care. Food and nutrition programs may supply, or it could be a supply of funds. So it now depends. When it comes to health and nutrition, which include affordable medical care. Then when it comes to food and nutrition program, it could be a kind of, what's it called now? Financial assistance coming in cash. Then often referred to as food stamp in US now. Then the supplemental nutrition assistance program, SNAP, to provide easy access to food in general. So additional nutrition assistance through the Women, Infants, and Children WIC program provide food specific benefits to ensure pregnant women and young children have access to healthy food, then options to promote growth and development. So other programs that are part of social welfare include disaster relief assistance, education assistance, then agricultural loans, then services specifically to the veteran. So those are the benefit. Like I said earlier, we are coming up, but the government is doing when it comes to what's it called now, Nigeria, government is trying to do something there, but we have a lot of what's it called now, NGOs. We have a lot of foreign NGOs, and even we have NGOs within the country, like what's it called now, UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund. They are really there for when it comes to the issue of children in Nigeria, save children, and a lot of other international NGOs that are funding when it comes to any children-related issues, welfare rather. So that's it. Any question?
We don't see.
Hello. Are we together, please? Try to be sure that somebody was trying to say something. So from what we have done so far now, any question? Am I the only one in class? Any questions so far? It seems I'm the only one in class, so.
I'm here, ma. Yeah, I'm not the only one in class.
Okay. Thank you for that moral support.
No problem,
So
ma.
any question? Yeah. So let me have your take home as you are rounding up, those that were with us. And Deborah, you are just joining. Deborah Oma.
Okay, what I wanted to say is, in what way do you think, since you have rightly said it has not been institutionalized before now, even though welfare was going on, but in Africa we did not institutionalize ours. What do you think we can do now to be able to?
We have to start from somewhere anyway. And like I said earlier, no, we are just coming up. Eh?
Yeah.
So we are just coming up. I think with time, no, with the what's it called now? With the advent of professionalized social workers, no, at a point when you find yourself somewhere, you have to do what's it called now? You have to do the need. And from what I'm seeing now, you know, a social worker now is one of the major stakeholders. Are we getting it? Because when we are talking about social welfare and every other thing, we as a social worker, we are the one on the field, and we are the one that will do what that we need to play our own role where we are allowed to do or to do that. But sincerely, we are just coming up, and I pray God will help us in maybe Africa generally. Are you getting me? So no, it has to do with policy making and every other thing. That's why I'm saying that okay, in a group of people where policy is being made, if you have someone that is trained and that knows the right thing, whichever way the person will still pushes. Are you getting me now? So at least at the point of making policy, at least we'll be able to advise the body on what to do and every other thing. So, but God will help us, no?
Amen.
So it's not the issue of it's not the issue of just one voice. So with time we'll get there anyway. Get there. So what's your take home for in today's class? So it's only two of us that are in class today. Because Margaret, she just found something and went to Owambe, went for Owambe. Deborah Oma, can we please hear from you? Hello. It's time to finish. So let me have your take home so that we'll just round up the class. So your take home today from what we have discussed so far. Right from the definition, the history, the American history, Nigerian history, then the welfare system. Any take home? If there's no way, I think we have to call it today. So till the next class. Yeah. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
Okay.